Well, for her, she appears oftentimes with the head of a pig, and then she lost her head. Now, no, they can't find the head. They know where she's buried, but allegedly the head, they think, was taken and dropped down a mine shaft.
Out in the woods, shadows creep slow. Footprints deep where no man should go. Cold winds howl through hollers and brooks. Whispers of Bigfoot in the way it looks. Myths, monsters, and mullets in the night. Under a pale moon, strange glowing light. Truth's out there like a blade it cuts. Myths, monsters, and mullets run amok.
Welcome back to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. I am your host, John Methencamp. If you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Also follow me on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for all the support you've been giving me on all the channels. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, tell a friend about the show. If you think they'll enjoy it, let them know about it. That's the only way we can grow. Don't forget to look down in the description of this episode. You're going to find all my favorite podcasts down there. Nevermore Hollows, Drunken Cryptids, Chumming with the Spirits, Lodge Tales, and so much more. Give them a listen. I think you'll like them. Speaking of all the podcasts I just mentioned, October 4th, Ada, Ohio, the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree put on by Cryptids of the Corn. You're going to see all those guys that I just mentioned there, including myself. You can come out, have your picture taken, and meet all the guys from all your favorite podcasts. On tonight's show, we have David Hardie. He's an author, cartoonist, t-shirt maker, does it all. I think you'll enjoy this conversation because it was a riot. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. I am your host, John Methencamp. On tonight's show, we have David Hardie. He has a book named Appalachian Cryptids and Creatures. He also is an entrepreneur with a t-shirt business. He is a pastor, might be a rocket scientist, maybe a karate judo master. I don't know, but we're about to find out. David, how are you tonight?
John, I am doing incredibly well. Incredibly well. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. I actually heard you on the Cryptids of the Corn. That's where I first heard about you.
I love those guys.
Yeah. And, I heard you on there and I'm like, I got to get this guy on my show. So let's start with the book. Well, actually, yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and let's go straight into the book.
Sure. Yeah. So I am an author, illustrator, and I've been doing that for many, many years. I own a t-shirt company. So functionally, my 9 to 5 is I run hardieware.com. So I do that, and I do that for all sorts of organizations, businesses, and whatnot. That's my 9 to 5. And then I get to have a little bit of fun because I'm an artist. And so we're talking just put out this book, Appalachian Cryptids and Creatures. It is fully illustrated. It is like I got illustrations of all of them. I got all the bigs. I got Grafton Monster. I got Flatwoods Monster. The big one, obviously, Mothman. I got a lot of Mothman in there. But then I got Squatches out the wazoo, all the different things. I've got some weird ones. I got Gawaggle. I guarantee you that 99% of your listeners have never heard of a Gawaggle.
I haven't heard of it.
I know, dude. I went and found, Barilla. I went and found the most niche cryptids I could, and I did that. The book just came out, and here's the good news. So it's not self-published. I have a publisher, Courier Press, and they have told me the book is selling very well. Now, I have no idea what that means. Maybe I've sold 10 copies. I have no idea now, but it's good. I get to take it around. I go and speak at festivals. I'll actually be in Sutton here in a few weeks. The West Virginia Bigfoot Festival. Super excited about that. Speaking of that, and then I'm doing all these other ones. I'm doing the Mothman Festival in West Virginia. I'm doing Squonkapalooza. If you people have never heard of Squonkapalooza, this thing, it's in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. It is the most fun that you can legally have in Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, this thing is crazy. It's like the third annual. And do you know what a squonk is, John? Are you familiar with a squonk?
Yeah, I do, and it's one of those obscure ones, only in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
The thing cries. It looks like a hairless rat.
Mm-hmm. It's so ugly that if you see it, it cries itself. Now, this is the controversial part. We don't know. It turns into a puddle, and there's been much debate in the cryptid community on whether when it turns into a puddle, it dies, which is my argument, because it doesn't come back. Or people say it goes into a portal and it comes up someplace else. I don't know. I don't know. But regardless, the squonk, it is Pennsylvania's most, I don't know if it's popular cryptid. I mean, I think it's the one that we've adopted because it's only in Pennsylvania. But the squonk, like it's, so I make these T-shirts and I sell a squonk T-shirt. People love it. It says I'm a hot mess, and it just has this picture of this ugly pig. It's like a pig, pug, lamb thing that's crying because all it does is cry. And I've heard many people say that it's so ugly it's cute. So it's just funny. But Pennsylvania, well, they've adopted this, and they have their own festival, and it's ridiculous. But so that's the one I'm speaking to that too, having a blast. Doing all those things. I love cryptid festivals. The fact that we have so many to choose from, like what a time to be alive, right?
Right, right. Are you going to the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree?
I am speaking at the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree.
I
So
will be
yes.
there as well.
Oh, it's gonna be so awesome. It's gonna be so awesome. Yeah, Justin and Jay they're putting so much time into this thing. It's gonna be fantastic. So I will be there as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good time this year. Last year was a good time. I went there just as a walking around, checking everything out. But this year I will be a vendor there, so you can come
Nice.
up and meet the mullet.
Meet the
So
mullet. That is
that's right.
awesome. That's
That's right.
amazing.
What it'll be is there'll just be a line of women in front of my tent. I know there will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like mullets, what we've learned is that mullets are the natural aphrodisiac attraction of women, really. I think there's something deeply spiritual about it, I think, and it just draws them all to you. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I know because I've been living this life.
We all have our burdens to bear, you know what I mean? And, you just have an amazing mullet. It's just this
That's
long,
right.
flowing locks of love.
I have to bring my wife just to keep me in line.
Well, she can like mediate. She can be like, listen, ladies, you can look, but don't touch.
Right, right. She makes the list and checks it twice.
That's it.
Oh wow! So we got way off topic there, but that's
Yes,
all
well,
right.
that's all
That's the way
right.
my
That's
shows
good.
go. So we were talking about the squonk. We've talked about OBJ. Do you want to show some of the artwork from
Yeah,
your book?
absolutely. So it's like hard to, I have to like go backwards. But like I got like the grass man here. You know what I mean? Like, how grass man, like I went a little more literalistic. So what I did, these are all the biggest comic book versions, right? Like everything's like I tried to do this is a Crosswick monster. And and this is the cover, the Mothman. I tried every single cryptid. What I wanted to do is just do the most crazy rendition, the coolest rendition, Jersey Devil, right? Like the coolest
Nice.
rendition that I could possibly do. I'm not saying that everything's 100% accurate. I did try, but I got the sheep squatch right there. I
Yeah.
have learned that the sheep squatch is a litmus. If you're talking about sheep squatch, you are a true cryptidpreneur. You're not just like a passing like I think Mothman's cute or something like that. Like you are down with cryptids because you understand, some of the weird nuances of the culture. And so yeah, sheep squatch. I made a sheep squatch shirt. It did not sell incredibly well, but the people who buy it are very, very excited about it. They're like sheep squatch on a shirt. That's awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah, but
that's what a lot of people don't realize. I love the show Mountain Monsters. I do.
mhm, mhm.
I mean, I've watched that series countless times. But the things that they're chasing are actual cryptids. They're not
Oh
making
yeah.
this stuff up,
Mhm,
and a lot of
mhm,
people don't realize that. And Sheep
mhm.
Squatch was one of them that was on there.
Yeah. Yep. And there's multiple sightings, like a significant amount of sightings. Now, I think that a lot of these sightings coalesce. Like, I think that sometimes it's like, well, it's a big giant white thing. What is that? It could be all these different variations depending on, the description and different things and who saw it and where they saw it. But regardless, you're seeing a bunch of really weird stuff that it seems like multiple people have seen over periods of time in the same regions, which is really intriguing. It seems like a lot of these cryptids are tied to specific regions for whatever reason. Do some of them, move? Yeah, I mean, probably, but it seems like there's at least somewhat of a home base for them, if you will.
Well, you speak of the white thing or whatever. I mean, Pennsylvania has a white Sasquatch. Georgia, Alabama have a white thing.
They do, which it looks like a lion. There's all these different iterations, but a lot of them say it looks very feline. So
yeah, and then some of them say it looks
intriguing.
canine, and some of them say it's like a Bigfoot. Some of them say it's just a white thing. That's where it came from.
The one that I think is so funny is the Grafton Monster. There are so many different descriptions of the Grafton Monster. It's kind of ridiculous, and it just turns into a blob. Like, that's what everybody does when they draw it or represent it. Like, they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So, big giant blob.
Yeah, some people say that the face is actually in the chest. Some people say it's just hunched over so much that it looks like the face is in the chest.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give you a little teaser, okay? I'm going to give you a little teaser. In my book, I have an incredibly hot take on the Grafton Monster. I'm not going to tell you now. I'm not going to ruin it or spoil it. I have, and this is not mine. I actually got it from the Crypto of the Corn guys. So, Justin specifically. But it's a very, very, very hot take on what the Grafton Monster could potentially be. Just throwing that out there.
Sounds like I'm going to have to buy the book.
I know, right?
Where can people find your book?
Well, number one, very easily, Amazon.com. Yeah, I have sold out to Amazon. I'm part of the machine, baby. No, I'm just kidding. It is on Amazon, but you can get a signed copy sent directly from me. I will sign it, and it'll be arrive at your doorstep from cryptidempire.com. So that's the easiest way to find me. Cryptidempire.com, all one word. And I will send that out. I also got some awesome t-shirts and stickers up there for those of you who like wearing cryptid t-shirts. What's funny is I found there's quite a bit of people who love cryptids but don't want to wear it on their t-shirt. That's okay. No problem. I can still sell you a book. I can sell you an awesome book that you can enjoy. And it's all ages. It's all ages. So if you want to buy one for your 12-year-old nephew, you can do that as well. So,
and I'll make sure I get all these links in the description.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I'm going to have to get one of the books, and everybody that comes on my show that has a book, I end up buying one. So what I plan on is having a shelf back here once I get a few more, because I don't want one up there with like 4 books on it. Well, I want it to make it look like I'm well read.
You're well read. Oh,
but
man.
But I'm going to love yours because it has a bunch of pictures.
That's what I tell people. They're like, I don't like to read. I'm like, hey, here's the good news. It's a picture book. It's a, I got write-ups. The funny part is I spent so much time researching and writing all this up. I spent more time writing than I did drawing it. And then I realized, let's be honest, 80% of the people who buy this book are not going to read it. I just know, I'm already well aware they're gonna really enjoy the pictures, but they're not gonna read it, and that's okay. I'm at peace with that. I'm totally at peace with that. I could have written whatever I wanted, and people would be like, "Okay, it's a cool picture of the Mothman, though. I like that Mothman."
Right. So all of your shirts are also cryptid related, correct?
Yeah. So on cryptidempire.com, like I do other shirts, right? Like my 9 to 5 is like, businesses, schools, churches, other people who need, stuff brought to life. But then like my passion is doing just the craziest version of cryptids. I mean, I think I have a shot. I have a roadmap written out on how to take Appalachian cryptids. I got a few more places to go, and pretty soon I'll have my little own cryptid empire that hopefully can sustain me and my family. That's all I want. I just want to create content and do that for the rest of my life in complete and total bliss, right? Drawing cryptids. So we'll see. We all have dreams. That's my weird dream.
It's not weird at all.
No.
You gotta do what you love.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And apparently, I love being a CNC machinist because that's what I'm doing.
That's it. That's it. That's good.
Maybe someday I'll start making money with the podcast and I can do this full time. But until then, I love being a CNC machinist.
Being a machinist is you're always going to need machinists, right? Like you're always going to need that. It's a stable, it allows for you to do the podcast, which is very important, And sometimes, here's the hard thing. Sometimes when you turn your dreams and, the things you love doing into the moneymaker, they become a little bit more of a nightmare. And that's what I've heard from some people. So people mostly like to do this stuff to escape some of the drudgery and all the different things. Like I get it, like I've had jobs. I've had many jobs through my life. And right now I have a 9 to 5 functionally. Now I'm my own boss, but I got to make invoices. I got to, do logo design and mock-ups on t-shirts. And I got to deal with supply chain issues because, hey, that's what having a job is. You know why when you have a job, somebody is paying you to do something they don't want to do, right?
Right.
That's the nature of a job. They're paying you to do something that they probably don't want to do themselves. So jobs can be a pain, but they provide for you, and that's really important.
That's right. That's right. So what got you into the cryptids?
Well, so everybody asks me that because, obviously, I just put out a book. The interesting thing is that I have always been intrigued by the supernatural. When I was a kid, I'd go to the library, and I'm really excited, by the by, to take this book down to my local library that I got books from when I was a kid. I haven't done that yet because I just got the book a few weeks ago and I've been on the road. But I cannot wait to take this to the Monaca, Pennsylvania library and hand them this book, and they're gonna be like, "Okay, what's this mean?" I'm like, "No, I got all these types of books as a kid from this library." I just loved it. But I remember getting yelled at. I had angry aunts who were like, "I can't believe that he's into Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and all those things. That's the devil." And I'm like, "No, they're probably Nephilim from Genesis 6, but they're not necessarily Lucifer." Anyhow, and so I was real into that as a kid. And so I got into comic books like crazy. I just love comics, still love comics. Number one superheroes, Wolverine, huge Wolverine fan. And so there's a lot of bleed over, right? Even in Wolverine's first appearance in the Incredible Hulk 180 or 181, depending on which way you go, Wolverine fights the Hulk, but he also fights the Wendigo. Now, this is Marvel's Wendigo, but he fights the Wendigo. Now, Wendigo in that is a giant white Bigfoot type creature. Now, in Native American lore, he's very different looking than a big Bigfoot creature. But I'm super into it, super into that stuff. I saw this bleed over, started selling t-shirts at Comic Cons. I was very eclectic, sold a bunch of different stuff to see what would work. And you know what kept selling? My Bigfoot shirt again and again and again. And I was like, wow. And then somebody came up to me and said, "Have you ever heard of Mothman?" I was like, passingly. I hadn't done the deep dive. So I did a Mothman shirt. It blew up. Danny Trejo from Uncle Machete came and bought a shirt off of me of his own free will. He just walked up and bought one. I got a picture with him. That blew up. And then eventually I got in with the Mothman Museum, Jeff Walmsley, and I am the official #1 seller at the Mothman Museum. So he orders stuff off of me all the time, wholesale. And thousands and thousands of shirts. It's a lot.
Oh, cow.
We're selling a lot of. I have a Mountain Dew Mothman shirt that has been striking gold, and it's gone very well. Yeah, I'm the originator. I'm the first one. I'm sure people are going to rip me off, but I am the first one, and that's been going great. So that's where it all kind of came from that, and then I found out it's very popular in culture, and then I did the deep dive in all this stuff and got just completely immersed. My kids will go on long car rides with me and they're like, "Daddy, can we listen to a podcast that's not about cryptids?" This is the 4th podcast on cryptids. And I'm like, "Listen, kids, cryptids pay the bills, okay? I got to find out about the Beast of Berkeley. Be quiet.
Right. Well, I'm going to use that line now. Next time I'm on a long trip with my wife and she's
Mm-hmm.
complaining that I'm listening to
Uh-huh.
Sasquatch Chronicles or something like that, I'll be like,
Yeah.
look,
Fake filth.
this is all research.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
going to make me famous.
Yeah, this is it. This is how we're going to retire, baby. This is how we're going to retire.
That's right. David said so.
Yeah, I'm going to be in so much trouble. You're always going to come up to me at a conference and punch me in the face.
No, she would never do that.
No,
She only does that to me.
that's fair. John, blink twice if you need an intervention. Blink twice.
No, I love my wife. She is a kind and wonderful human being.
Good.
And I say that with all sincerity. I really do.
Yeah, good. I love my wife too. So we're two men who love our wives. That's great.
There we go. So, but you never had a cryptid encounter then?
No, so like I will tell you this that I have some weird ones that as I go back and I look at it, like I'll tell you really quick. We had a goat. I grew up on a farm. We had a goat that got attacked, we thought, by a dog. When I go back and I was really young and I look at that, what's intriguing was there was no blood. And I'm very curious. I don't know because I had no pictures. This happened in like 1995. And I'm like, what happened here? There's a lot of stuff that when you go back in your memory, the things don't add up, right? Or you'll be listening to Sasquatch Chronicles or something along those lines, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I've heard that thing." You know, so I had Cryptids and Corn just did a podcast on the baby noises, the baby crying noises. I have definitively heard the baby crying outside at 3 a.m. noises. So what's that mean? You know, so like, I mean, very definitively, this is not a cat. This is not a blah, 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 blah. This is a baby crying at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night in the woods. And you're like, what is that? So I never went into the woods. Like there are people, it's so funny. I've learned in the cryptid community that there are two types of people. There are the people that like, they have the stories from like, oh, I heard this noise. And then there are the people that like, I heard this noise and then I went into the woods to try to find the Wendigo to slay it. And you know what I mean? I'm more of the guy who will tell the stories and draw the pictures, but nuh-uh. I don't want to. I never want to see a Wendigo face to face, right? Like I'm not that guy. You
Right.
know,
I don't blame you on that one. I don't.
right? You
I do
know,
want to see a Bigfoot though.
sure. So I think you do a much better with a Bigfoot. I think
Yeah.
your chances of survival are significantly higher. I think that I would say that Bigfoot probably most of the time are not going to hurt you. Most.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 75%. Like there might be 25% or some bad actors out there. You know, I mean, there's some theories with the missing 411 and different things that like Bigfoot might be kidnapping people, like, you know, some of that. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot more positive Bigfoot stories than there are positive Wendigo stories, or you know,
Or
whatever.
Dogman or
Yeah, Dogman. It just seems like all the Dogman stuff is bad. Like, and I have an irrational fear of dogs. I was attacked by a Dalmatian when I was 4 years old in a kiddie pool. Long, weird story, and so I'm terrified of dogs. The concept of a Dogman makes me want to throw up. Like the fact
wow.
like these stories, like it's so funny. Like people will send me like Dogman podcasts, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Well, like Martin Groves. Have you ever talked to Martin Groves?
I have not yet.
Yeah, he's like the OG. He was attacked at the LBL, so Land Between the Lakes, and he was like in that space where he got attacked, and then the other dude died. Right? Like so he survived, and then they found the guy's body. Martin Groves wrote a bunch of books and stuff. I talked to him, and it's just I was at Crypticon in Kentucky, and I heard his story and all the different stuff, and it's just terrifying. Like it's like absolute horror of horrors. There's nothing worse that you could do to me than put me up against a dog man. You know, like kill me. Nuclear bomb doesn't scare me. Like it's over fairly quickly. You know, all the different stuff, but the dog man stuff, nah. I got no time for it.
Yeah, I agree. Even I've never had like somebody come on and say the encounter was violent, but everybody said seeing this thing felt like pure evil.
Right.
So yeah,
Because it probably is. That's the reality of it. So
yeah.
yeah.
If you don't have a good feeling about something, I always trust my gut. And if you're having that feeling that this thing's evil, it's
Mhm.
probably evil.
That's why I
So
say, hey, listen, don't try to talk to them. Get out of there. I know these people are always like trying to track stuff down. I'm like, no, just not looking. I mean, hey, I know it's a big deal and I know it's to some degree a moneymaker, let's be honest. Good for you. I'm not saying you can't go find them, but I guarantee you this. There are some people who went looking that found them and we never heard about them again. You figure all these stories are from people who survived, right? But there's probably a bunch of stories from people who didn't. No.
I mean, there are the missing 411s. I mean,
And think about how many. So that the missing 411, we've got like a context right now, and we can kind of track some of this and all the. Think about like the 1800s. Think about the early 1900s. Think about some of this. Jim just disappeared in the woods and nobody saw him again. And they're like, well, we don't know what happened to Jim, and that was it.
it was
They
always a
told.
bear. It was
Yeah, it was
always a bear.
bear, or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of things got blamed on wolves. Like wolves are eating people. It's actually relatively rare for a wolf to attack a human being. You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of disappearances. So
Yeah. It's been at least 3 weeks since I've been attacked by a wolf.
I know, right? So I mean, you're doing great. After this morning, I haven't been attacked all day, so it's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, and people
Not
act
in
like
this
it's
one.
so hard. It only happens once every month or so.
No big deal. No big deal. You just got to get that wolf spray, and you're fine. You know what I mean?
The bat wolf spray.
Yeah. That was the most unhinged episode of Batman in the history of man. The fact that he had shark repellent on his, utility belt. Like, cool.
He was
Okay.
he was a Boy Scout, man. He's always
Clearly.
prepared.
Can you imagine how heavy that utility belt had to be? Like, let's be honest. That had to be at least 20 pounds of just weight, every possible scenario imaginable. Yeah. And
Yeah.
as a kid, I grew up on Batman 66, right? As a kid, you're like, oh no, Batman lost his utility belt again. Like, it was like this every single episode. He loses his utility belt and he gets locked up. And then they go to like the commercial. Is Batman gonna die? So
Yeah.
funny.
Yep. That's what I
Everybody
grew
talks
up
about
on too.
why Batman doesn't kill the Joker, but like we also have to answer the question of why the Joker doesn't kill Batman. You know,
Right.
if either one of them had any sense, they would just shoot the other in the head and it would be over. But it never ends. They just got to keep this perpetual dance going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, back then though, the good guy couldn't use guns. Yeah, he couldn't kill. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
the bad guys could. I mean,
I would, yeah, he was gonna saw him in half, or laser his head off or something, but very slowly. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, if you just, and then he'd leave the room too. It's like, I'm going to let you die very slowly, but I'm going to leave because clearly there's something more important going on here than killing the freaking Batman.
Maybe he had irritable bowel syndrome.
You're right. He very well could have had that. It was like, Batman, you're going to have to hold on. I've got to go, but I'll be right back to kill you in just a second. Oh, my
Oh
goodness.
my God, this has fallen way off the rails this time, but that's okay.
I told you, you're going to have to reel me in. You got to reel me in. I can go any direction. And I'll just go. I could go. This could be a comic book podcast at this point in time. Like, all right, I could just go off the rails.
Yeah, yeah. I have a segment called "Off the Rails," and that's what this episode's probably going to be.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair. That's very fair.
but we were talking. Well, it sounds like you had a chupacabra incident with
Of course.
the goat.
Yeah, right? Which is, they do exist in Appalachia. So I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but as far as how about like ghost encounters?
Yeah. So I had a crazy experience when I was a young youth pastor. I'm going to try to be succinct in this story, but I actually had, I have the newspaper articles to back it up. I had a kid who was in youth group who was a horse jockey. Okay. Now I'm from a very rural area in Pennsylvania. I'm as close to Ohio and Pennsylvania as you can be. So, you know where the train derailment was a few years back? Um,
Yes.
yeah. So East Liverpool, that whole area, the New Galilee, blah, 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 that whole area, I live fairly close to that, like within 5 minutes of that area. So this is like quite a bit ago, almost 10 years ago now. I had a youth group kid. And he got his name was Vincent. Vinny V Dub was his nickname, and he got in with kind of a rough crowd in a place called Enon Valley. Okay, Enon Valley. And long story short, nobody knows why it happened. There's all sorts of retellings and whatnot. But one night, these guys called him down to the local bar. And when he went down there to the bar, they kidnapped him. Okay. So now he was over 18 at this point in time. They kidnapped him. Now there's also some people said that he stole off of them. People said that he turned them in for arson, that they were burning down barns and different things. It was all these different, we don't know why. But here's the crazy thing. They took him to this place called the Bridge. Okay. This is where they partied. They took him to the bridge. They broke his hands with a hammer. They tied him up around a tree. They chained him up around a tree. They peed on him. They took a dead deer carcass that had been rotting in a container, dumped the carcass on top of him, and left. Now, which is crazy. As the story goes, the one guy felt bad and called the last number in his cell phone and then threw the cell phone down. Police eventually came and found him. Okay. Like he's destroyed, he was a horse jockey. They broke his hands. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, real weird, crazy. So then these guys, what you kind of find out through this story, and we all know not to kidnap people, right? Like kidnapping people's bad, but kidnapping people is like a long time in jail, like a long time, like 15 to 25 to sometimes life, which is crazy. Or not crazy. I mean, makes sense. Well, so they get like these guys get put in jail, all these different things. Well, in this area, in Enon Valley, there is a bunch of weird crap. Okay. Just things that you just can't explain. Very like Stephen King novel stuff. And the one story, because I heard all these different stories as a pastor out there, the one story that I would hear all the time was of this entity called the Cloak. Okay. And it was the most amorphous, strange thing. It seemed like everybody who told the story differently, and you could never like nail down what this thing was. But the most popular was it was like a dark cloak-like thing that would follow people home. Okay, if something bad happened in the area, it seemed like the cloak could be directed towards somebody or called upon to do evil in the name of, right? Like some weird things. And like, you never mess with it. You never kind of talked about it. It's funny. You wouldn't talk about it like, you know, forthright, but people would whisper about it. And when you talk about it, people are like, oh, can't talk about it, can't bring it up, whatever. So what was intriguing is after this happened, the story gets even more crazy. So the guys go to jail, and his parents sued the bar. Okay, so when he went down, because I guess they proved that the bar owner knew what was going on and let it happen. Right? I don't know, but regardless, the bar got sued for like over $20,000. This is 10 years ago. This is a pretty significant chunk of change, and this is so crazy. The day that the lawsuit was over, okay? The day the lawsuit was over, Vinny hanging dead in his barn. Like completely dead. Now, people are like, oh, he must have committed suicide based on what happened. A lot of other people said that it was just they needed him to get through to get the money, so like he needed to get through this, and then they killed him. Then other people have said that the cloak got him, which you're like, what does that mean? What does the cloak got him mean? And so it was crazy. I talked to the one reporter who was writing about this when Vinny was alive. So in the first article, and we talked, and he's like, "This is really messed up stuff." They called it Evil Valley. So Enon means land of many waters. It's a Native American's name, but like people were calling it Evil Valley. And I'll tell you what, there is a spiritual oppression in that space. Not every single person is, but it's like there's just a darkness, like a different feel, lots and lots of land. There's a lot of ghost story stuff. There's in that same space, there's the Pig Lady of Cannleton, very, very locally popular situation where there was a girl who she died in 1770 something. So right around the time of the Revolutionary War, her parents, she was married, and her in-laws left her to watch the house. They left to go to Pittsburgh to get some supplies. When they came back, they couldn't find her anywhere. And they looked for her for a really long time. And then eventually they gave up. They're like, we don't know where she is. And then they were sitting on the porch, and they realized it stunk really bad. Underneath the porch, they found her decapitated body. And somebody had killed her. This is back in the 1700s. So then the crazy thing, so that was more than likely, it's like this weird serial killer 1700 thing. Who knows? So then her ghost starts appearing headless, looking for her head because they couldn't find her head. She was decapitated. Barbara Davidson was her name. And get this one, there is a musical that the high schoolers did, middle school and high school, at the local high school. The Barbara Davidson musical, The Pig Lady. And it's like, I have a copy of it. It's crazy. And like they read it, they performed it. Like I know kids who, it was like this annual thing. And it's this local legend. There's a sign. We have our very own sign, the Pig Lady sign. Like
Why is she called the Pig Lady though?
Oh, sorry. She appears without a head or with the head of a pig.
Okay.
So and the pig thing is very hard to understand. Like, why is there so you know how ghosts will appear differently? You hear all these different things, and it's like sometimes they appear like this and sometimes they appear like that. Well, for her, she appears oftentimes with the head of a pig, which is real creepy. Like that's, and they say that she was watching the pigs. That's why she stayed home. She had to watch the animals. She was watching the pigs, and then she lost her head. Now, no, they can't find the head. They know where she's buried, but allegedly the head, they think, was taken and dropped down a mine shaft back then in Cannleton. So this is like super local to this area. And then there's this thing called Indian Rock out here. I'll send you a picture of it. Indian Rock, it's this crazy big, it's very hard to describe. It's this just giant rock on top of a mountain out here. It's got these three holes, and it looks like it points. It's like a compass type thing. There's no village around it. There's no anything. There's no reason for this rock to be here. It was just on top of this mountain looking over this area. And I can't tie this stuff together. I have no idea. But you look at it, you're like, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things.
Is there a sign on Interstate 90 for Indian Rock?
No. That's probably something different. I would imagine there's a lot of Indian rocks.
That's true.
You know what I mean? But no, this one is that's what they call it. People call it Indian rock. Who knows what it is? I have write-ups and books and different things like that. I'm trying to look in my shelf right now to find it. But yeah, it's just weird. I'm not saying that this rock is making all these things happen, but it seems like it was a type of ancient worship, something that is outside of the norm. People have forgotten about it for the most part. People still tell stories and different things. Like that's how it goes, but then nobody knows what this is, But this area has all of these like things, right? And you're like, and I actually don't think I think there's a lot of other spaces that have weird, strange occurrences, and people just say, "Yep, that's weird," and they keep going with their life.
Yeah, I think basically anywhere in Appalachia you're going to find that, but Ohio and Pennsylvania, West Virginia, like that, that whole little triangle right there,
Mhm.
there is a lot of weird stuff that goes
Well, like
on
this,
there.
the serpent mound stuff, like that's
Hmm.
crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
like that's a lot of really weird stuff, you know. And it was so funny because so once I got into researching all of this stuff, there was one time I was on the turnpike and my wife, so we had to take the kids to the bathroom. I have three kids, you know, and it was like, okay, I take the boy, she takes the girl, and we do all that stuff. And I came out of the turnpike bathroom, and she's like, "I was just talking to this really nice man," and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." And she's like, "Yeah, he was talking about he's going to go see some mound in Ohio." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, it was like Serpent Mound or something." I'm like, "Ah, I got to talk to this guy." She's like, "He was researching it. He's a professional, you know, archaeologist or whatever." I'm like, "Which way did he go? I need," and I couldn't find him. But I was like, "Oh my goodness," because there's a ton of stuff out here, and we have just no idea. Like and we're just like, "Huh, that's
So,
really
so have
weird."
you been to Serpent Mound?
I have not. Again, I got to be honest with you. I'm the type of guy that's like, "That's a great story. I never want to go there." You know what I mean? Like, I don't. So, like, I've been to this rock, this Indian rock. Okay, I went up there and I did not feel good. Like, I did. It was not. First off, I'm not a hiker. Second off, like, but it just. I have no desire. If you're like, "Dave, you'll never be near Indian Rock again," I'd be like, "Cool. I don't want to go." Like, you know what I mean? Like, no desire. I know people do. I can tell you where it is. I can point you right to it. I'm not going. So yeah, I'm just not that guy. Cause you would have to know my life, but I have like the worst luck, if you will, or fortunes, or if something bad will happen, it will happen to me. I'm the guy that dog man's gonna burst out of the mound and eat. Like that's how I would die. That would be it.
I've heard a story that like one of the first documented dogman cases was the dogman coming out of an Indian burial mound.
Right? Or looking in it, right? So they
Some
don't
yeah,
know.
it had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah.
with
Like
it, or it was digging in it or something.
he was digging in it. And you're like, why is he digging in the burial ground? Like,
Yeah.
and he's mad. So and then that story is he's like mad and like he cares more about continuing to dig than he did about the person who came over. Like he's like, I got something really important going on here, you know. And you're like, oh my goodness, that is creepy. Like, I mean, one, like a giant dog man is creepy. I don't care what context you find the dog man in, it's creepy. But then, two, like the fact that it's going through an ancient burial mound,
Right.
okay, next level creepy stuff.
Well, I mean, they do talk about the oversized bones in the burial mound, so an oversized dog would need an oversized bone.
The bone of the giants, right? The Nephilim, the one that the Smithsonian keeps stealing from them. That's what he needs. He
How
just needs
dare
all the
you?
bones of the. Oh, what? I'm
How
sorry. I
dare
shouldn't
you? How
have.
dare you say the Smithsonian would steal those giant bones?
I
They would
went.
never.
I went to Washington D.C. with my son, and we were going by the Smithsonian, and I was making jokes with people. I'm like, I want to know where the bones are. I want to know. I'm going to go in there and find the 16-year-old janitor and really give him a piece of my mind and ask him where are the giant bones.
Where's the stairway to the basement? I want to know where the
Yes,
basement is.
I'm going downstairs, baby. I'm going to go find those Nephilim bones.
Yeah, and the bones from Lovelock. That's what I want to see
Right,
with the red hair
right.
giants. I want to see that red
Mhm.
hair too.
I don't know. Could you imagine if you did though? They're like, okay, go on down, and you're like, oh,
And that's how
I,
it's been that easy the entire time. That's all we
I
had to
was
do
just
was ask.
kidding. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't want to see that at all. I don't want to see that at all. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
What else does Pennsylvania have? Pennsylvania has some weird stuff. They're not well, I heard recently that I think Pennsylvania is ranked in the top 3 right now in UFO sightings.
Yes, yes. And we don't know what it is. So I lived out in Lancaster County for 3 years. Just recently, I moved back here, and like there was a bunch of stuff, and people were seeing it, and they're taking videos. Like I had friends who were posting all this stuff, the UAPs, and it's like, what is this thing? It was like it was the stuff that was over Jersey, and you're like, I don't know. And you just, the crazy thing is, like, you'll be talking to people and they're like the super logical, whatever person. And you're like, okay, we are having congressional hearings about UAP, which is in essence UFOs, which if it's not aliens, then what is it? Right? And like we have confirmation and like multiple spaces of confirmation that these things exist. And people are like, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're
I
like,
mean, for how many years have the conspiracy theorists been screaming that this stuff's true and everybody called them whack jobs? And now the government's coming out and saying, yeah, they're real. We've got biological material from them, which sounds to me like bodies. And everybody's like, okay, what?
yeah. I truly, here's what I think it is. John Crist, the comedian John Crist said, dude, I got to get my groceries. Like, I think that's what it is for us. I think that we have all these things. You hear all this stuff, you have whatever, you're like, I got to get groceries. You know, like, brain does
Yeah.
not compute. You know, we don't have all the things. We don't have the evidence that we would want or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you just go, this has no real bearing on my life. I got to get groceries. And maybe someday it will have bearing on my life, but until then, I'm doing nothing about that. You know, it was just like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to get groceries. I think that's what it is for most people. I really do. Now, and I think too, there are some people who overstate things and, you know, and ruin it, you know, and make it, you know, seem too far out there. And then that becomes, but you know, listen, I don't know what almost any of these things are, but I know that there's weird things, that there's more than just stuff. Like there's more than just stuff, and that people are seeing things, you know? So a lot of this, they're at very least, it's unexplained, but it's not the narrative that we have been fed. I'll tell you that.
Right. Right. You brought up Nephilim earlier.
I
So
did.
are
Genesis 6, baby.
are you along the same? I have a theory
I would love to hear your theory.
that I can't give up on the Nephilim theory for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And my reasoning is put aside the Genesis 6 stuff, put aside all of that. But what's the one thing the government fears more than us rising up? And that's religion being true.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
if
that's
the
why the giant
Nephilim are
bones.
true,
Yeah, I know.
if the Nephilim are true, that proves part of the Bible, takes part of their power away. So that's why I can't give up on the Nephilim theory, is because if it is Nephilim, they have all kinds of reasons to hide Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I would say. I am an ordained pastor. Okay. So I've got 20 years of ministry in. I travel the world doing evangelistic endeavors. I just spoke at a camp last week. I mean, I'll be speaking at a camp next week. You know, so I do those things. What I would say ultimately, Genesis 6, first off, if any of your listeners aren't interested in this, The Unseen Realm by Dr. Michael Heiser is amazing. You know, absolutely amazing. The Unseen Realm by Dr. Heiser. Now it's heady stuff. Yeah. I can't see the book. Oh yeah, the Genesis 6 by what is it, Gacy, right?
Gary Wayne.
Gary Wayne. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, but here's what I'm saying with this. It's, I think, either Nephilim or Nephilim adjacent. Okay. So I think that I definitely believe hook, line, and sinker, Genesis 6 is about angels mating with humans, and the offspring were the Nephilim. Okay. Like, I, I'm going to tell you, if you hold a Sethite view of Genesis 6, you're allowed to do that, but you're wrong. Like, it just doesn't hold up. And I'm sorry, it doesn't hold up. But I think that then you look at the Genesis 6 narrative, and there's so much. I don't know that, like, from my understanding, I don't think that the Sasquatch is the product of that union. But then I think there's all sorts of other elements that are, you know, and I think that the corrupting strange flesh and different elements and different things that we start to see, I think that there's a taxonomy here that's well beyond just angel demon. I do. The people who wrote the Bible, the original hearers, they believed in that. Their cosmology was very different than our modern cosmology. So I think that's all tied. I don't know
Yeah.
how. I wish I did. I don't know how, but I don't think it's taking a proof text verse. I think it's saying that there are things that you definitely don't understand, right?
Right.
And then you have, I mean, but now, what was interesting is that Amazon Prime show, that House of David, whether you liked it or not, they point blank tied Goliath to a Nephilim. Like the story of Goliath, how everybody is like always for many, many years has done whatever they wanted with Goliath. It's like, oh, Goliath was just like Andre the Giant. And he was, when you hear Malcolm Gladwell's, defense of what Goliath was, and he said he was blind and he was just this tall guy and like, it was just gigantus or whatever, giantitis, whatever. That's not biblically what Goliath was. Goliath, everybody understood him to be the return of the Nephilim. Like this, he was a Nephilim. He was, or a product thereof, right? And David was ultimately doing battle against this, from their understanding, pure evil. And he was victorious. But Goliath in scripture, he's a Nephilim. I mean, or again, the children of the Nephilim.
Right. It watered down, but still.
Yes.
So I think you might have to come back on and we'll do a whole episode just on the Nephilim.
Let's do it. I love it. I love talking Nephilim. I'll talk Nephilim all day long.
Yeah. Well, David, this has been a fun episode.
It's been great.
Why don't you tell everybody one more time about your book, where they can find it, and whatever else you want to pitch right now?
All right. So I'm really easy to find. Again, if you go on Amazon.com and you type in cryptids, eventually you're going to get to me. It'll be an awesome drawing of Mothman right there. But Appalachian Cryptids and Creatures on Amazon.com. But you can get a signed copy from me at Cryptid Empire, all one word, cryptidempire.com. And you can get the most amazing cryptid t-shirts that you have ever seen. All of your friends will be jealous of your new Chupacabra t-shirt.
All right. Well, David, I appreciate you coming on tonight. This has been a lot of fun, and we'll talk. Don't hang up right away. I want to talk to you after we stop recording. But if you've had a paranormal encounter you'd like to share and feel like being on the show, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Gotta go.
Bye.
Shadow in the pines lurking in the dusky air. Bigfoot stomps through the woods like he don't care. Lights in the sky flash green then blue. Aliens descending with a secret or two. Whispers in the breeze, cold fingers down your spine. Ghosts in the graveyard, twisting through time. Eyes wide open in the dead of night. The myths and monsters giving one hell of a fright. Oh, Myths, Monsters, and Mullets podcast, spinning wild tales of a future and a past. Hosted by John Methencamp, fiery soul. He takes us where the wild unknown flows. Oh, Myths, Monsters, and Mullets podcast, spinning wild tales of a future and a past. Hosted by John Methencamp, fiery soul. He takes us where the wild unknown flows. Down by the bayou, you hear a raspy growl. Swamp gas glowing as the coyotes howl. A UFO zipping just above the trees, grabbing hold of wonder like a southern summer breeze. Some call it crazy, others call it a lie. But listen real close as the truth passes by. The lines are blurry, the story's bold. John Methencamp spins them into southern gold. they growl. Swamp gas glowing as the coyotes howl. A UFO zipping just above the trees, grabbing hold of wonder like a southern summer breeze.